Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator based in the United Kingdom, and today I'm working with the lovely Butterfly Brilliance and Brilliant Wings dies to create this fun suspension card. And you can see they're just using those big butterfly images, creates a lovely dimension. And I'm actually going to use some paper that'll be retiring soon, which is the Sand and Sea paper, just to show that you can often, mix and match your products from Stampin' Up, but because all the colours coordinate, you will still get a perfect match. The lovely thing about this Butterfly Brilliance is that you stamp it all in one go, and there's a single die that cuts out all of those butterflies in one pass. And then you've also got all these detailed butterflies here as well, including some accent pieces, and that's what your detailed butterflies look like as well. So really lovely. And you can cut those out individually, and that's what the images look like if you're coloured with pencils, and that's just them in black and white. So a fabulous one. I'm almost tempted to get a second stamp set and cut them apart just to do individual butterflies. Haven't quite taken the plunge yet, but who knows. Okay, so we're going to start off with with some stamping then. So you will need a piece of card. I've probably kept the minimum you need is 11.5 by 16 centimetres, and I would recommend that you go slightly bigger than that to make sure you've got plenty of space for your images all the way around to die cut. So as I say, I've probably kept that one a little bit skimpy, but that's the minimum, and instead of cutting it a bit bigger, I haven't. So the next thing to do is to grab your ink, and I thought I'd use some of this Sea and Sand and pick up the pinks in there, a bit of Flirty Flamingo and Blushing Bride. So I'm just going to ink up the image really well. I'm popping just a stamp case underneath that. That just makes it easier to get an even pressure with your ink all the way over. And then flip that over and just really put some pressure all the way over. And you'll see there, look at that beautiful stamped image, red rubber, you're not going to be surprised that you get a good image from Stampin' Up! With that, are you really? So the next thing is to line up our dies, and what I use is a bit of post-it note on there, and all I do, I find it easiest to kind of line up the antenna on these. So you'll see those little antenna there, and if you can see those, then you're pretty good to go. And just pop that down. Yeah, just keep it so that it's nice all the way around. Pop that through your sandwich. You can probably hear me cranking away in the background here. There we go. And all those butterflies are popped out beautifully. Okay, so I'm just going to pop those all to one side and then decide what I'm going to layer up with them. To create the card base though, it's really easy. You know me, I do try and make fun folds pretty easy. So 29 centimetres by 10.5 centimetres, and you're going to line that up at the 3 centimetre point and cut from the score line down, and from and then just come in, if you haven't quite got to the top, and then just snip across that top there. So that's as simple as that, our basic card base. Now you're going to want 2 panels, so again 14.5 centimetres, and I'm just going to make these just a sort of a tad, just about sort of 2.7. So 2 of those, and then 2 pieces of DSP, and those are going to be just about, I'm going to pop those about 2.4 actually, and just keeping those again at 14.5. So I'll just need to trim. I'm trimming off at the, because I want to keep the pinks, I'm just trimming off at the yellow end of that DSP. So, you know, another one where you could just use you don't need to use massive amounts of DSP on that either. And then what you might want to do is add in a layer on the inside on this one. So you're going to want to take this down to 10 centimetres wide by 14. And I'm just going to grab my stamp apparatus again. And all I'm going to do is ink up on the one edge quickly. And then pop my card just in there. Just use my magnet to keep that, and just stamp down that edge, just to add a little bit of detail when the recipient opens the card. And it also helps give the card quite a bit of strength as well. So I'm going to pop that on the inside of my card. Like so. And you see, it just makes that pop. And while that's drying, I'm going to create my 2 DSP layers. This is the beauty of those kind of overall designs that are in all of the DSP packs, that you know, they will work really well with a whole range of patterns. Beauty of Stampin' Up! Colour coordination. So on this one again, what I've done is I haven't gone for the all-round border, I've just gone from for the side border. And that narrow, so it's probably sort of less than 1/8 of an inch that I'm giving in terms of the border. Just find that when on a narrow strip, I think that looks really pretty. So try not to drop it, get everything inky, but just pop that down so you get that pretty effect all the way down. Now you might find, because you've come just off the score line, that it overhangs the bottom edge. That's fine. Once it's dry, you can just trim that. So all that remains is to finish with our decoration. So I find with this, I'd put them on first, put my large image, which kind of gives the structure. It also gives me some placement for my glue as well. So I'm going to pop that front and centre. And then we can work with some of the other butterflies that we've got on those. So I've cut out some of those detailed ones with in vellum. So I'm going to use my glue dots, she says, hopefully. There we go, my open reel of glue dots. So vellum, I find, because it's a little bit tricky at times to glue, glue dot is a good way forward with those. So just press that on and we can just start to add some dimension. So what I'll do is put a look at some of my larger butterflies. Let's see which ones we've got. So I might want a smaller one up there in that gap, and perhaps a larger one down here. And then what you can do is then add a second one and overlap them, and you'll get a bit more strength on your card. So I'll pop that one like so. And the one at the top. What else have I got? I think I'm going to pop this one underneath here. Like so. And by just varying the sort of position of those, we can just add that in. And then this is where, if you've got a fine tip glue, it works really well, because you will be able to pop in on these just underneath a dot. I'm going to pop, because we want our big one to be front and centre, another dot just here on the edge. I'm just going to open that out so if there is any seepage. And then I'm just taking some of these other butterflies in Blushing Bride and just adding those into the centre. To create our collage layers. And I just think that, you know, you could match them up if you wanted to. You could also use those little teeny tiny ones, which I've neglected to cut out on this occasion. But you end up with just a really pretty, say, layers, using as much as little as you want. When you could always add on a couple of gems afterwards if you wanted. But if we pop that to one side, there we can see a pair of pretty Butterfly Brilliance cards. Which do you prefer? You pink, team blue? You could add some extra little bits on there if you wanted. Up to you entirely. Thanks for watching. Come back and see me again soon. Bye now.